unclear your clutter inside and out, we're talking about acknowledging all the awesomeness that you're doing. Do you sometimes feel small because you're not an influencer? Have you felt your light dim because you aren't as well known and not reaching millions? Are you ready to really see the positive impact that you're having? Learn how to own and celebrate the difference you're making in the world.
Does your clutter own you? On Clear Your Clutter Inside and Out, we'll teach you how to become aware of your clutter, along with action steps to declutter and create the life you desire. Come on, let's get started.
Today's post was inspired by social media. I'm on Instagram. And for me, Instagram is kind of a hybrid account because I post a lot of cat pictures. I like a lot of cat pictures. I do stuff business related. I do obviously do things about clutter. Yeah, I should be really great and post about every time I have an episode come out. I really don't do that. There's this tendency on Instagram that people will follow you immediately, maybe like a couple posts, but they are trying to up their numbers. And so then as soon as you follow them back, they unfollow you. And I've seen this pattern a lot. And I have seen people, I'm like, there's no way you earn 50,000 followers in a week. I think you probably purchased it. I'm never going to buy followers. I don't think that's cool. And that to me is contradictory. Are you really an influencer if you have to buy people to follow you? And it's kind of the same thing if you are wanting to increase your numbers and not buy fake followers, but you say, okay, I'm going to follow this person and then immediately unfollow them. And I have that happen several times. So this guy had like 33,000 followers. I went to his account and maybe he was following like 100 people. And I said, okay, this is one of these jokers and just likes me, doesn't like any posts, just did a search hashtag for life coach. And again, it is what it is. But I'm like, I don't want that's not someone to me that I want to follow. I really am not going to be too trusting of what you have to say when this is your strategy. And so I thought, got me thinking, and then I'm laughing because as you know, my process, write a draft. And then I had this wonderful person, it was really sweet, tagged me and talked about how the podcast had influenced her. And I was like, oh, what perfect timing. And that really drives home the point that I want to make today. Because I think I can't imagine having social media growing up. I am grateful that social media did not exist when I was growing up, because I think it's going to be interesting to see how kids today, as they grow up, I think there's this, especially people who are in the spotlight, just this pressure to be quote unquote perfect. And I think it's going to warp us in a bad way. I think there are definitely good things about social media, but this influencer and getting paid and all this, I just think it's kind of become this warped. And I know I make a difference because I know I make a difference with the podcast, with my family, with doing cat rescue, with my clients. And so I wanted to remind you all, you are making a difference, even if you don't get paid to post on Instagram. I mean, seriously, guys, let's just be real. That's the life I want. I want to create a Coraccio Cats account, have a bazillion followers, and get paid to post pictures about cats. Now, that would be living the good life. If I do set up a Coraccio Cats account, I'll definitely let you know. Because seriously, or even if I got a couple of free bags of cat food, I'd be super excited. Why am I not an influencer? Well, probably the obvious answer is I don't have enough people that follow me. Even if you combined all my podcasts, video casts, social media, I don't have enough to be what is considered an influencer range. And the reality is it's just me. All my money and effort has been going into the books. And so hiring someone to edit and do a cover and all that, that's where my extra cash has gone. It's not something that's important to me right now. I don't doubt if it'll ever be. And so I don't have enough. I don't care about it enough to become popular enough to be this definition of an influencer. And I titled the podcast this because I don't want to be an influencer. To me, if I have more depth reaching one person and supporting them and making significant changes, that's who I want to be. If I just have 1 million likes, so what? I have 1 million likes, but have I supported people in making real change? How have I supporting them in sharing their gifts and their light with the world? And we get all hyped up and caught up in numbers, but is that really making a difference? And sure, I'm sure in some ways it is. I don't want to knock it because I know there are definitely people who are keeping it real and are influencers and doing a lot of positive things. But I think there's a lot of muck in the middle that really isn't. It's about kind of climbing, and sometimes I feel like clawing their ways to the top. When I did Reawaken Your Brilliance and I'd interview authors, the people that were super popular always promoted it, were interested in having a conversation. People who were maybe getting out there for the first time or trying to build an audience wanted to control the interview, never promoted it when I had them on. And it was like, I felt like clawing their way to the top. That's what they're trying to do. And it was just a completely different experience and something that I noted. And so I think when you're trying to get to that stage or trying to be an influencer, that's kind of mixed up in it. And sorry, I'm trying to I have lots of thoughts on this topic, and I kind of go off of notes, and so I'd like to be more spontaneous and not read everything and see and trust. One of the things I do is trust, okay, whatever people need to hear, let that come up in the episode and something that they can contemplate. And so there are a few practical reasons why I'm not an influencer. And in the bigger picture, if I influence less but create huge change, and then they're going to go out and support people and allow them to shine their light, that's what I want to be a part of. That's the kind of quote unquote influencer I choose to be. Why do we feel pressure to be recognized or known as an influencer or famous or popular? Money. They now have, you're supposed to add a hashtag ad. I know on Instagram, I don't know what the rules are for Facebook or other social media, probably similar. I mean, because when you have a celebrity posting about supposed diet cure, and like, yeah, you're popular and people are going to buy this product, but who knows if you're being truthful and if it really works. You can make a ton of money on YouTube. I've tried to do that. I haven't yet to receive a check. I mean, I have a decent amount of views, but I've earned maybe $5 to go back and forth about letting advertisement on the YouTube page. I would love to make money posting pictures of cats. Or if I had enough followers, it would be great. I'm not going to lie. So I can understand that pressure. And I think, though, that there is just kind of this not everyone, many people I think are trying to catch that money train. And, it's interesting. I think we're going to start to go back in other ways, kind of lessen the influencer, because, people can buy fake followers and all that. And so people are getting more aware of that. But that's one reason why I'm like, oh, maybe the guy wants to be an influencer because he wants to make money. I can appreciate that. Maybe it's because we'd like to be recognized and seen by others, right? Saying, I'm here, I matter. Of course we all matter. And sometimes we don't feel like that. We can maybe feel isolated and want to know that what we value, what we think, what we believe, what we share, that's important. We want to have recognition. I think that's probably true for most of us, that's a human quality. For some people, it's really important what others think. And I am gratefully have passed that point. I'm doing some editing now, and I was writing about something about fashion and how I used to not be able to make a decision, I think, without asking someone's opinion first. It was not a fun place to be. And I joke because I have Birkenstocks again. I was kind of a hippie for a while, and it's great. I need to get another pair of these great, like green, mossy colored Birkenstock clogs that were awesome, super comfortable. Then moved from Vermont to LA, and people just looked at me like I was a weirdo. And I let that influence me, right? Because it was more important what others thought. So I encourage you. Now I'm like, bring on the Birkenstocks. I encourage you, if you are someone that's important what others think, to re-examine that. But if you're in a place right now where it's really important how other people view you and what they think, then I can understand why there's that pressure to be recognized and popular and get opinions and get that feedback. We desire to be loved. Now, I'm going to argue it's a warped sense of love. And I think that this is kind of a messed up sense of love on both sides of the coin, because I feel like some fans and their love of someone that's popular or influence is really out of whack. And I'm going to be honest here. I don't get the popularity of some people. And maybe it's an age thing. Maybe I know I'm not cool. I'm not groovy. I am in my own way, but not what is probably considered the norm or the standard. And truthfully, I just feel as a society, we don't worship the real heroes. We want to be popular. We want to have influence because that is a way of feeling loved. If we don't find that within ourselves and we have to seek it from others, you understand why someone wants to be popular, because they're going to equate that with love. But at the end of the day, it isn't. And I think we all know deep down that it isn't. If you are someone that worships or a fan, I'd also encourage you to look at that. Like, what is it that that person has that you desire? Take some time for some inner help. Those are just a couple reasons why we might feel the pressure to be, hey, I want to be an influencer and have a bazillion followers.
Our affirmations for decluttering support you in releasing clutter at a deeper level. The meditation begins with focused statements on releasing clutter, followed by powerful positive affirmations for healing, and end with completion statements. The affirmation concludes with a reaffirming meditation exercise to fill where clutter was released. 9 clearing clutter affirmations to choose from. Go to reawakenyourbrilliance.com to learn more.
I'd encourage you, as I always do, to dig a little deeper. What's really going on with your desire to be popular? I am a huge fan of examining dreams. I have a little journal beside my bed, and I like it when I'm able to wake up in the morning and not be rushed and write down the dreams of the night before, because there's usually some good stuff there. There's usually something that's maybe just beneath the surface, or I've been tossing and turning around, and then aha, all of a sudden it comes out in the dream, what I've been seeking. And so if I look at my own self, I'm thinking, okay, well, do you want to be popular? And yeah, on one hand, but not super popular. What it boils down to me when I've done some self-examination is that I really love writing. I love the written word. I love to do that. I love doing something like the podcast, although it also involves speaking. Writing is a huge part of it. That's what I really desire to do. And it's less about having all these followers and being popular, but if I could sit and write all day and support my family that way, I'd be really excited. So when I look back and say, okay, why would I want to be recognized more? What's really going on? It's to sell books so that I can write full time. Take the time to really examine what is your desire to be popular. And if you're listening and watching or maybe thinking, well, I don't know, Julie, I really don't want to be popular. Okay. But is it you need more recognition in your life? Is there someone you want to be recognized by? It doesn't have to be this huge thing. There might be someone that you're like, wow, I wish they would notice me. I wish they would see who I am. So play around with that a little. What's going on? Moving forward, recognize all you do for others. really take the time to sit down and acknowledge this. I've had people reach out and say, I just want to let you know how the podcast has made a difference in my life. I love getting updates and emails from clients. Hey, since we work together, A, B, and C has happened. The majority of that stuff isn't public, but it keeps me going. It reminds me that I am making a difference. I am influencing in a positive way. Although I don't know if I'd use the word influence, because I believe we all have our own innate wisdom, and I just see my job as helping you pull that out. So that might not be the right word. The reality is I know that I am making a difference. So on those days when I feel like, oh my gosh, really, that's all the followers you have and you should have a lot more, blah, 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 blah. It's okay. Write down, how have I supported people? And I remember that, and it puts me in a good frame of mind. Yes, I am making a difference. Change up your definition of success. I feel in American culture, right, it's all about the biggest house, who makes the most money. I think we have this warped definition, and I think that is slowly changing. You know, the older I get, I'm like, oh, I just don't want stuff. I just want to downsize more and more and pare down, and I feel so much better when I do that. And so I look at success as, hey, I rescued 4 kitties and I got a mama spade, and that's potentially 30,000 cats from one kitty. So that's 120,000 potential cats that aren't going to be homeless or maybe get sick or whatever. That's huge. I had someone who is sharing her gifts with the world, and I was a part of that. A small part, I believe, but still a part nonetheless. Those are the things to look for success. For me, it could look completely different than you. I've kept the orchids alive. That's a definition of success. In general, I'm pretty happy. I'm not in prison. I pay my taxes. I'm, in general, a pretty good person, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty successful at life right now. So don't get caught up in the trappings of the material world, since that seems to be the measuring stick for so many. Create your definition of what success is. Make sure you're doing what you want to do and not what people think you should do. I spent a lot of my time doing this, and I know I'm not alone. I had a friend who was married to a man who didn't want to be a lawyer, but that's what his parents wanted for him. And he went to law school and hated it. And finally, after practicing law for a while, he got another job working for the public, I think it was radio station, TV station, something like that. He was finally happy. He finally had to stand up and follow his passion instead of the life that his parents wanted him to lead. And I know he's not alone. Maybe you are an accountant in a family of artists, and that they are all very artistic and you're not, but you crunch numbers like it's nobody's business, and that makes you happy. Follow that path. Think about where you want to concentrate your efforts. Is it being a reality star, or perhaps something more meaningful? What's important to you? What do you want to focus on? How do you want people to see you? How do you choose for people to recognize you? What is important to you? There are some amazing people that I've met through this rescue group I'm doing. I don't know how they do it. And I have a friend that fosters. She's on, I think, past over 100. I think that's incredible. You've made a difference in the lives of over 100 cats and dogs. She has found something that is important for her, and she gets recognized for what she does from the cats and the dogs and the people that adopt them. Maybe not outside that sphere too much, although she posts pictures on Facebook, so I'm able to like those and definitely want to encourage that. I'm going to encourage you to aim for someone that is worth knowing instead of someone who's popular or an influencer. Be someone worth knowing instead of being popular. That you are positively influencing people instead of a popular influencer. Just play around with that for a little bit. Do you want to be? Would you choose to be someone who is worth knowing for your interesting conversation? You're passionate about what you do? What is it really that you're trying to achieve? Celebrate your success. Celebrate all the difference that you are making. Acknowledge that you are shining your light, that you are sharing your gifts with the world, and do what you need to do for you. I think some of the coolest people I've met are those that aren't popular. They have created their own path. They beat to a different drum, yet they're content and happy, and they don't care about what the world at large thinks. They are influencing themselves and walking their walk, but by doing that, it automatically positively impacts others because they say, wow, they're forging their own path. Well, if they are, maybe I can do that. Acknowledge all your awesomeness and what you're doing, even the little things, especially the little things, because I think those are what can keep you going when you're really challenged. They ultimately add up. And you never know when you plant a seed, what that turns into. You never know how your smile or your compliment or your kind words can begin a new direction for someone. There's so many things that we can't see, that we don't know about, but that can truly create a path or change the course. Take actions from today's podcast. Ask yourself why you'd like to influence or be recognized. Reflect on what the bigger picture for you may be. Examine your definition of success. Be clear on your priorities. Give yourself what you seek from others. Go out, clear your clutter, create the life you choose, deserve, and desire.
Clearing your clutter allows you to share your gifts with the world. Get your free self-assessment to discover your clutter priority at reawakenyourbrilliance.com. If you've enjoyed Clear Your Clutter Inside and Out, please rate, review, and share us.